Alex, Saturday's nearly here, Taunton at home, where you're going to be here in your technical area. I bet you can't wait for the season to start.
Yeah, pre-season is a funny old time, pre-season, with players, with groups, looking at results, fixtures, everything else. And yeah, I think it's a bit like even now, even in my later ages, you just get excited about the first game of the season. You know, excited about this season, especially the competitiveness of our league. I think a lot of people have spoken about that. A lot of local teams. It's going to be really interesting to see how it pans out. But it's nice to get the, like I say, pre-season is difficult. You know, availability, everything else, and getting as much as we can into the lads that we need to. So yeah, we're chomping at the bit really.
How happy have you been with pre-season?
Yeah, very. I changed it this year. You learn as you go along in this job all the time. But changed it. Had less games. We only had 4 competitive games. We could always do with more time with the lads. That's the nature of being semi-pro. We don't get as much time as we want to work on the things we need to work on, but I think we've managed to get all the heart and lungs bits in and the physical bits in, as well as the technical things that we need to work on. And we're hopeful that we can put that into some sort of shape at the weekend. And
of course it's going to be a little bit different for you this season with Evo retiring, so it's not the joint manager combination.
No. To be fair to John, I think he'd admit this by his own admission. The last couple of years he's stepped back from things slightly anyway and gradually tailed it off. That was always the intention of John, and that was always my intention when I came, really, was to help him out as long as possible and then take it on. And that's happened, and I think it's a very easy transition because the way me and John were, we didn't, I think we had a disagreement once or twice maybe in the 3 years we worked together. So it's just been very simple and very easy. And John's left, I say a legacy, but left it in good shape. And hopefully myself, Andy Hoskins, and Will can take that on.
What are your targets this season?
Always difficult talking about them, especially when I go back to saying about how competitive the league is. I mean, in my time here, we've finished 6th, 11th, and 7th. So any improvement on any of those is fantastic. I think the budget we've got, realistically, anything above 12th or 13th is good. If we're in the top half of the table, we've done pretty well. I like to pride myself on the lads I put out there and the group I've got, and I'm very happy with them. And like I say, there's a group there, barring the goalkeeper, who finished 7th last year, and I've brought 2 or 3 good quality players in to add to what we've already got. So I can't wait really, and I think the lads are the same. They can't wait to see how we fare. But we only went 3 times, 3 times beaten since Christmas last year. So in the league, that's not bad form. And if you take that on to the first part, because that's where we've struggled in the past few years, has been the first couple of months of the season. Yeah. A couple of them through FA Cup runs, but I mean, and you don't grumble about those. It's just the fact that I think we need to start flying, and the lads are under no illusions that that's where we've lost out a little bit. It's only been by a couple of points here or there in those 2 out of those 3 seasons. So it's imperative that we start well. And
there's a couple of former non-league giants really, and a Football League one in Hereford. So Hereford Salisbury, it's going to be tough.
Yeah, it will be tough. I was at Hereford as a kid many moons ago, and they've got a big following. Even pre-season, they're getting 1,500 people go and watch. So we've got them early on, which is. I think probably from the club's perspective, I think it's a bit of a blessing because it's one they can get out of the way and they can organise it and get it done. Don't have to wait for it. But I think it'd be interesting to see how that pans out. Hereford, a massive club. Salisbury, big enough. Played down the conference with FGR, and they're I say not a sleeping giant because they got to the VAR semi last year. But I think it's going to be tough, and you've got all the teams in there who've done exactly the same again. The likes of Evesham. I think Evesham, Sunderland, Marine, Taunton first up. That's 3 out of the top 6 from last year, and we've got them in the first 3 weeks. So, by September we'll know exactly how we're getting on and where we're up to. But like we always say, all the cliches, it's a long old season, all that sort of thing. But you've got to put run of games together. You've got to be difficult to beat, and I think if we do that, we'll be as competitive as anybody this year. But with regards to targets, I try and do away with them and just say at this stage I want to do as well as we possibly can and possibly beat what we've done in the past. So beating that will mean we're in the playoffs. If we do that, I'll be made up.
You haven't made many changes in terms of recruitment, but the people you have recruited you must be delighted with.
Yeah, definitely. I've been very fortunate with my friendship with Russ at Taunton Town, but Russ and Gary Johnson have done me a great favour with getting Reece for the whole season as a keeper. Getting a professional goalkeeper at this level is fantastic. Tom was a massive gap to fill, and I'm not going to say we've done it, but we've got something slightly different. In the fact we've got a young professional goalkeeper, so that's super for us. Young Nathan at right back, local lad, just been released by Swindon. He's been a bit of a find, and he's probably been the find of pre-season, if I'm honest. And then Steve Davis, who I've tried to sign for 2 or 3 seasons now, is a big signing for us. You know, he gives us something attacking wise. He's won this league. He's played at a better level regularly. You know, and he's come to try and enjoy his football again. You know, his friendship with me and with Will Morford. You know, he's good mates with Will, so it's a nice place for him to play. And with those 3 additions to what we already had, which was a team that finished 7th and was only beaten 3 times since Christmas, you know, has got a lot to do. We're not going to be complacent by any stretch, but the new signings we have got, you know, have been very useful, and we're hoping that they'll come to the fore, you know, earlier rather than later.
Taunton Saturday, going to be a tough one.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like yesterday, but being sat here, we got done the 97th minute, I think, to a winner by them about 4 or 5 games from the end, put them firmly in the playoffs and probably put pay to ours. And that's, you know, that's still fresh in the memory. You know, they were unlucky, some say, last year not maybe getting up. So I know there's been a bit of change there. They've lost a few, they've gained a few. You know, at this stage of the season, it is very difficult to tell what you're going to get, because you look at pre-season results and everybody will tell you that not to read too much into them, because you don't know what team was out, who was away, who was there, who wasn't, who was on holiday. So yeah, it'll be a good test. You know, they're a big club. They want to progress. All the things through the summer, I know they were desperate to get up. Even with the, you know, with the grumblings with the Eveshams and the Cinderfords and stuff. So I know, you know, that they're a very forward-thinking, progressive side, and I think, you know, if we match them on Saturday and get something out of it, we'll have done well. But that's what I expect. They're the standards I expect. I want us to do well, and I want us to get 3 points, if not get a point out of Saturday and start the ball rolling.
Brilliant. Thank you, Alex.
Pleasure.
Cheers.